This is Layla here. And before we start, I know that you see something different, and that is my hair, um, or my wig rather. My hair, my natural hair is crazy. It rules my life. But I love the 40s. I love the 40s styles for women. I love the hair. I love the makeup. I love the clothes. It was a time where women looked elegant and very sexy at the same time, and I loved it. And one of the hairstyles is the victory rolls, which is these right here. But because I have crazy, wild, cuckoo hair that I love, and I refuse to flat iron my hair because I did that once or twice and it did not work out for me. I decided to get a wig, and this wig, as you can see, is kind of like tousled hair. Um, the whole wig is like this; it just comes down. But I put these victory rolls in, and if you can see, it's very nice, right? It's just elegant. You can't go wrong. I put a little headband here to cover between the my real hair and the wig, and I love it. And I'm a person, like, I've been looking the same for a while, and usually I change up all the time. I never look the same. I look different all the time, and it was time to do a change, and I did it. So, uh, here's my little change. And I always encourage you guys to always change, always innovate, always do something, never be the same, boring, mundane person. It change. When you change, you feel different. You feel, a little new. And so that's what I encourage you to do. But let's get to the subject at hand. What I want to talk about is verbal abuse. I do have a post about it in my blog. And verbal abuse is very dangerous in the sense that it's not like physical abuse. Physical abuse can be seen. People can recognize it. And they will say, "My God, if you got hurt," they will work to heal it, and it heals. But with verbal abuse and mental abuse, emotional abuse, the scars can last forever. And you don't know how many scars you have because you physically cannot see them. They're emotional, and it could be many. And that's the problem with verbal and emotional abuse. Um, Yesterday I went to the store. I was just, buying my little odds and ends. I was in a variety store, and I saw a woman about 27 years old. She had like four children, and none of them were older than the age of 6. Um, Naturally, when kids see things in a store, especially a store like that, they're going to come back and ask, "I want this, I want that." She had her hair and nails done. She was in there getting something, I don't know. But she was talking to a friend about how she's going to go to the club that night and she looks good and this and that. Okay, so I know what you're saying. Why are you all up in her business? Well, she was talking really loud on the phone. People like that they talk so loud, they really actually do want people to hear them. I really couldn't help it but to like hear her. She was on the line in front of me, so I couldn't help it. And the kids were coming back. They're like, "Mommy, I want this candy. Mommy, could I have this toy?" And she was, she just like stopped. She told her friend on the phone, she's like, "Hold on." And she turned to her kids and she put the scowl on her face, like, and she was like, "I'm tired of you N's." Yeah, she said the N word. MF is always asking me for stuff. I ain't made a MFing money, and I'm tired of you. Like, stop asking me for the S word. And, out of the four kids, two of them were like, I was just going to take a shot and, shot and burn. But the two younger ones were crying because naturally, little kids don't understand the concept of no sometimes, or just the way that they were approached is bad enough. When someone's yelling at you and calling you names, that would make me cry too. And she was like, "Stop crying. I'm tired of you crying for every goddamn thing. You need to stop it. You need to man up." She actually said that to one of the kids. They need to man up. Okay. And I was like, my soul crumbled a little bit because I looked at the children. I was like, the future that they have before them is not a good one. And, you know, It's like this. I know you're going to say, oh, how could you, how would you say that? You don't know. They could become the next president. They become this and that. First of all, before you go on with that and just like take up my whole time with that big BS, yes, I know that it's a possibility that they have greatness in front of them. Sometimes greatness cannot be stopped, but we know that if they do, it's going to be a very, very hard road. And with the environment they're probably living in, because they looked unkempt. One of the little boys had a horrible scar on his nose where like all the skin was rubbed off. You could tell it was like the day before. She had no band-aid on his nose, no ointment. You could tell that the road is going to be rough. And if they don't have the right people in place in their life, and I'm sure, I'm confident their mother's not one of them, for her to be calling them the N-word, they're not going to have the self-esteem that's going to make them feel that they can do better. And they're going to just feel like being a drug dealer or a stripper is the best that I can do, and I'm going to do that. And and I know that that's the likely road that they will take. I hope to God, I will pray for them that that will not happen, but we know that that's what's going to happen. I just hope that there's someone that could pick them up. I can't, because they're not my children. And she was one of those people that if I told her, don't talk to your kids like that, she would turn right around to me and be like, bitch, don't be telling me what to do. I'm MF kids. I don't have no time to get in fights with people, and it's just really sad that people that say things like that. You could really rip a person's soul out and dreams. You as parents out there, if you are a parent, please know that your words are so powerful. They're more powerful than anything to your children. You are completely responsible whether your child will be the child that will be the next president or a mass murderer or rapist. It is your life's duty to watch over your children and tell them you love them every day. I don't care if your child says, oh, stop it, mommy, don't call me. Trust me, a little part of them, they need that. As sun is to a plant, as water is to a field. I'm the same way. When I was a kid, my mom would do it every day. She said, I love you? Do you know you're special to me? Do you know you're everything to me? She would kiss me. I'd be like, oh, mom, stop. But, I always smiled a little afterwards. I'm like, oh, God, mom's always bothering me. And my father is the same way. And I would do the same thing. But I would just be like, oh, my parents, they're so annoying. But I do love them because they love me so much. And it made me feel special. And I never felt as a child that I never felt confined as a female. I didn't be confined as a black or a Native American. I just didn't feel that I was held, and there was no way I cannot be better. Because I had the type of encouragement and the words given to me every day that you are good and no one can stop you and you can do anything. And if you had people tell you that, if you had parents tell you that you're not this and you're not that, and you had a boyfriend especially tell you that, please, you should be glad I'm with you and this and that, please understand that, number one, these are people that they suffered this already. And verbal abuse people just don't verbally abuse people. These are people that were verbally abused and they feel powerless. So they feel power to do the same thing to you that was done to them. And it's a cycle and it has to be broken, and it starts with you. Break the cycle. Please do not call your children any words. I don't care how angry you are. I know it's tough. I was a parent. I've dealt with it, but I would never, ever, 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 ever say a bad word because they hold so much weight. You have to remember that children look at you. They don't know about the world. So you're the first person they look to. You are the teacher of the world. Whatever you go through, they look at you and say, well, this is how they handle it. This is the way I'm going to handle it. And if you are telling them that they're not nothing and you're calling them the N-word and you're saying they're this and that, they're going to think, well, this is my parent. And if they call me this, then I must be that. And their subconscious is going to take that word and it's going to affirm that word. And it's going to make sure that they are that word. If you call them stupid, That's even 10 times worse than the N word. How could you call your child stupid? I know children do things that can disappoint the hell out of you and frustrate you to no end, but you do never call a child stupid. That's a very hard word, and it's a word that will ingrain them, and it will take forever for you to take that word back. It's not a word you cannot take back. And if you are being verbally abused by someone, get 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 away from them. If it's a situation that you can't get out of, say it's a job, it's time to look for a new job. It's time to look for a new job. If someone's verbally abusing you and you know you don't have the power to fight them back, and you know that if you even open your mouth, you're going to get fired, it's time to look for a new job. I don't care if you look for one job a day. That's there's usually 30 days to a month. That's 30 jobs a month. Someone's going to call you. If you have a boyfriend that's saying that's easier than a job, he has to go. You can't have people that are not there to bring you up. And if you're verbally abusing yourself, I always say this. We do this, and we don't know we're doing it. For every time you say it, say the opposite. He's like, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm not this, I'm not that. You say, I'm beautiful, I'm great, I'm on the brink of greatness. I can do it, and do it. Because again, on my video on energy, and that's, to me, out of all the videos I made, I believe the video on energy is the most important to me, because energy is completely real. And your subconscious is extremely powerful. It has more power than your conscious self. It controls your breathing, it controls your bowel movements, and it controls trains of thought. That it takes over. It is the silent captain of your life. So if you say you're not good enough, or you allowed to listen to people say you're not, your subconscious will do what it can to affirm that. Because that's what it does. It's really a machine. You say that, it's like, okay, I'm going to do it. So, like I said, going back to the woman and seeing what she did, I'm telling you, women out there, I know you're frustrated with the children you have. Number one, if you have two, do not have any more. This is not the society to do that anymore. Especially if you don't have a man in the house, don't even do it. But if it's too late, you got 4 or 5. It's time to just love them. Love them. Please tell them you love them every day. Kiss them every day. Hug them. I know sometimes they will say, oh, leave me alone. Trust me. It means a lot. You tell them that there is nothing they cannot do. And if they don't believe you, it's up to you to tell them about people that have done things that people said they could not do. Barack Obama is the most well-known right now. Josephine Baker is my hero. If you don't know who Josephine Baker is, I suggest for you to Google her. She was a woman, oh my God, in the 1940s, a black woman in segregated America. And she ended up becoming one of the biggest entertainers in France. She lived in France in a big mansion and had a bunch of beautiful children that she adopted. And she lived a beautiful life in a non-segregated country. And I don't believe she would have done that if she didn't feel that she was good enough to go out there and go to a whole nother country. Especially back in those days, blacks in the 40s wouldn't even think to go to another country unless they were in the army. So for her to have done that is remarkable, and she became one of the most well-known performers in France. There's a large statue of her in France. And you have to tell your children about these people. You have to tell them about what they're capable of and what they're good at, and that they can do it too. And stupid, the N-word, you bastard, asshole, these words you should never say to your kids. Ever. Hug your kids, kiss them every day. Tell them, even when you argue, how grateful you are to have them. Tell them the story about when you were pregnant with them. I love the story my mother told me, like, oh, when you first came out and you smiled at me and I was just in love, and it makes me feel so special. Tell them how you felt when you saw them and held them. And if the story wasn't that great, make it up just a little bit. Let them know how grateful you are to have them. And I promise your kids will reward you with being the best that they can be. Okay, my time's going, but this is Layla sign off. Peace.